Hello and welcome to this video on geocoding and reverse geocoding. It might sound complicated, but that's not the case. So let's get started. So I'll be using these libraries: Tidy, Geocoder, ggplot2, and Maps. I'll be using some more libraries, but we'll talk about that as we reach there. So let's start creating a data frame or a table. I'm actually creating a table using the table package. So we'll have to call that also. So library table. And with that, we can create some data which will act as our starting point. So we are going to create some data for some point of interest in the world. So I've chosen a few of them. And once we create that, we get a table out of that. So just the names there. And I'm also going to use the dplyr library. So let's call that also. So with some addresses which we have already, we're going to transform them and get their longitude and latitude using the Tidy Geocoder library, which we call. So the command is the geocode command. And the next step is the method OSM, the name which we have given. This name is actually the name of the column in our table. So we have given that, and with this, we can actually get the value. So we can see that we have the name of the location, and now we have got the latitude and the longitude of that. So this is what geocoding is. So how do we use that geocoding? Let's see that. So I'm creating from the ggplot2 map data, I'm creating the word map. So I got everything in the word data frame, and let's start using it. So X is always the longitude and Y is the latitude. So this long and lat is basically the names of the columns in the world data frame which I've just created. So with that, so we got our data, and all we need to do is plot the polygons. So I'm saying geom polygons. So if I just use that and see if it works or no, so let's do that. You would see that if I run it, I get some points on the thing, but they're all garbled because we have forgotten one thing. And that is that every region or group is a closed boundary. And how do we define that this is a closed boundary? We are using the group command. So we have to use the group. So group, you can see that there are different groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have to use that. So we have to say another piece of code, group. So what next? I can use the same command, and instead of using the world data, I'm going to use the sum addresses data frame which I just created, which contain the names of the point of interest and also the longitude and latitude. I think there were 8 rows in that. So I'm just giving this command and see what happens. So I'm using geom point there. So it's supposed to show the points on the plot. But what about the boundaries? We don't have any word map boundaries, and that comes from the borders command. So if I say borders, I get everything. And I'm going to use the ggRepel library, which I haven't called, but you should call that ggRepel. And I'll talk about that a bit later also. So using that, we can plot nice labels also on the screen. And I'm also using the theme void, which gives a nice plot without all that lines and everything. So this is a plot which has actually plotted our point of interest. We have geocoded its location by using that package, and then we got everything. What happens if we have large number of points? So in this case, I've taken the capitals of some of the countries like that, and I'll try to get the geocoding for this done. So we have 201 capitals of the world in this case. They might not be all the capitals. So using the geocode again, we have got all the longitude and latitude. It'll take some time, but I've just speeded up the video. So let's start plotting them. So we have plotted them nicely, but we are missing the borders. So the borders command will give us the borders. And there we go. We have plotted most of the capitals on the screen. And using the theme void, it changes the look and feel of that. We can also use the GG repel, and the label repel would give us nicely placed labels on each of those points. And a bit more enhancement, the caption and the title. So let's start focusing on the reverse geocoding now. So we have seen how to geocode it. Now we're going to see how we can do the reverse geocoding. That is, we have the names of the location, and we try to get the longitude, latitude. That was geocoding. Now reverse geocoding is the reverse of that. We have the longitude and latitude, and we'll try to get its physical address or the street address. So saying this is the reverse geocode. So latitude, or the lat equals latitude, and latitude and longitude are the field names which exist in the sum addresses data frame which we created early. So I'm actually creating another address column saying address found, and let's run it and see what happens. So with that, we have reached a stage where we have the names and the locations of those fields. So I hope you found this information useful and practical. Thank you very much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.